All right, let's recap some of the things that you guys did our past week for Unit 3, Week 3. It was a lot of work this week, but I know you guys were doing great things, so nice job. The first thing, order of business. You need to complete your Scrooge's characterization day chart today. So we started it in class. If you are in person, a lot of you started it on your own in the beginning of the week. You need to make sure that you have everything that you need on there and then submit it back to me. Okay, so go in, click edit, type on it, and then resubmit. Secondly, make sure you're not copying from the internet. This is also known as plagiarizing. In the handbook, if you plagiarize or copy and paste from the internet, you can actually receive a 0 on that assignment. And when you get older, I know I've talked about this in the beginning of the school year, you can actually get kicked out of school. So that's one thing we want to make sure that we are refraining from. You would technically have to cite evidence, and you would have to do this using APA format, MLA format, things that you guys don't learn until high school. So use it as a resource, but do not copy and paste from it. Another thing, do not write, I don't know, put question marks, IDK, I need help on your responses. If you need help, you are to ask me for help when completing the assignment, and then you can go back and fix it. However, if you put I don't know starting at the beginning of Unit 4 when we come back from break, if you write I don't know on any of the questions, I will give you a 0. Okay, so please make sure you're seeking help if needed. And lastly, you guys are in 6th grade. You should always write with capitalized letters and punctuation and always complete sentences. You will be losing half credit for every time that this is not done. So please make sure that these things are done. We are halfway through 6th grade, meaning most of you will go to 7th grade, and you need to be prepared for 7th grade. Okay, guys? So let's keep pushing through our work. So let's go to some of our questions this week. We're going to look through Act 2, Scene 1, 2, and 3, the questions that you guys had to do. And the first three are from Caitlin. So why does he keep making the clock change? He's attempting to astonish Scrooge with nothing. Yes, very good. He's trying to surprise him because he wasn't going to be surprised because he already went on the journey before. What does the color present wear symbolize? Well, he's wearing green, and it symbolizes life, and it symbolizes earth. Some of you put Christmas, that works too, just that color green. And then also, how do we know that the past helped determine the settings? And Caitlin wrote, his brother has been born on Christmas past. If he was over 1800 brothers, we know the year is 1800, but not the 1900s, and he doesn't say 1900 brothers. So therefore, that would be 1 year every year that he has had a generation in the family. But Brady looked at it a little differently, and he said to tell Scrooge that he isn't new to this. And then other people put that it helps determine how many people he has helped, which is kind of what Caitlin was getting at. So all of these are right. I am not one to tell you if you are interpreting something right or wrong, but if you can use your ideas and make sure that you are supporting your ideas with evidence from the text, that is great. So I liked how there was multiple views on this answer. Very nice job. The next one is from Connor. And Connor, looking at questions 2 through 7, he talks about how green symbolizes wealth and money. He talks about how the help determine the years, a brother for every year, set in the 1850s, so it tells us the time frame. What has past teach Scrooge? Mistakes are valuable because they are worth learning from them. Yeah, because we see that Scrooge made a lot of mistakes and like he should have fixed them. So very good answer. He sparkles incense or sprinkles incense from his torch. The men believe in change in attitude because of the Christmas spirit. There are 7 people who live in the Cratchit family. You had to read the narrations, and then you also had to read who was talking. So there is Mr. and Mrs. Cratchit, Belinda Cratchit, Peter Cratchit, Tiny Tim, Martha Cratchit, and Baby Cratchit. And then, what statement reflects old Scrooge on his meager earnings? What foolish myth? So this is talking about how Scrooge obviously doesn't pay him enough, but he still has a lot of kids. So very good job, Connor. I'm going through, we're going to look at Jackson. So Jackson put for number 9, how does Tiny Tim's relationship with Bob differ from Scrooge's relationship with his father. You were supposed to compare and contrast these two. So, Tiny Tim and Bob Cratchit's relationship is great, while Scrooge and his father didn't have a good relationship. Yes, we know that Scrooge and his father was mean. He sent him off to boarding school. Meanwhile, Tiny Tim is crippled, and Bob Cratchit carries him around and takes him places and supports him. So, very opposite ends of the spectrum. Belinda says, "Come, brother, you have to hear the pudding singing in the copper." That is actually personification. Good job, Jackson. And she's trying to say the pudding was cooking and is now ready to be eaten. The singing can represent like sizzling in the copper, and they all talk about how yummy they think it is. Bob Cratchit says, "As good as gold." This is a simile because it has as, and it's Tiny Tim is a good person, is what it means. Some people put idiom too. That is fine also. That is a well known phrase. So, very good job, Jackson. Abby puts for 13 through 16. What does present review to Scrooge about the future? We find out, very sadly, that Tiny Tim will die if Scrooge does not change. Then why does he bow his head when present says, "If these shadows remain unaltered by the future, no other race will find him here"? So he bows his head to show that he actually cares. He's having remorse, he's having guilt. So any of those answers work. Very good. Why is it ironic that the family toasts to Scrooge? Well, because as Scrooge is there and Scrooge treats them so poorly. However, they are still so grateful for the little money that he gives them. And I thought this answer was funny, so thank you, Abby, because you made me laugh. What is Miss Cratchit saying? "Found her in the feast indeed. I wish I had him here. That miser Scrooge, I'd give him a piece of my mind to feast upon." I hope he had a good appetite for it. Some people put that she wants to invite him to dinner. It's actually the opposite. She wants him to come over so she can tell him off. He's very mean to Mr. Cratchit and does not support the family. So she wants to give him a piece of her mind. So very good, Abby. 17 through 19 is from Victoria, and Victoria says that I think Miss Cratchit is rude to Scrooge because Scrooge was rude to them in the beginning, and I think Miss Cratchit is nice to Scrooge because he knows what he has been through and he knows he has changed for the better. Yes, I completely agree. Mr. Cratchit kind of still sees that hope in him, and Mrs. Cratchit is like, "You treat my family poorly." Tiny Tim sings a song. What is the mood? So we're talking about a tiny child lost in the snow. We just found out Tiny Tim will die. So by the title of the song, it seems that it's going to be dark and not a happy song. Towards the end, present says Tiny Tim will die. So yes, it's a dark, depressing part of the story. And lastly, present gives a description. What can we deduce from this description? That the Cratchits aren't rich at all and they don't have a lot of things. They're very poor, but they are also very grateful for what they have. And last but not least, from Harmony, number 19. She said the same thing. We can deduce that the Cratchits love each other and they don't need money to be happy and that they're a happy, caring family. She writes in a complete sentence. She answers that question with her thoughts, so very good job. And what lesson does Scrooge learn? Well, Scrooge learns that you don't need money to be happy, even though how he treated Mr. Cratchit. So very good job. So let's go to Act 2, Scene 4 to 5 review. A lot of you guys, if you completed every question, I gave you points just for trying. However, some questions were not correct, so it's very important to pay attention to this part of the review. So this is from Fawn, and Fawn says, "Why does the nephew keep inviting Scrooge to dinner? The nephew does it because he feels bad for Scrooge is an old miser." Yes, he just keeps on inviting him because he does. He wants him to just come over. He wants to be kind. He's a kind family. So what do Fred's actions and thought indicate about the characters? Fred's thoughts and actions indicate that he's kind, loving gentleman. Fred is the nephew. He invites him over all the time. He's very kind to Scrooge, even though Scrooge isn't. And then when Present says the boy is ignorant, but most of all, beware the boy, for I see that is written on his brow the doom, unless your writing can be erased. What does this boy symbolize? Well, the boy symbolizes Tiny Tim to Scrooge and represents trying to relay that Scrooge's ignorance isn't something that means you just don't know something. It means not paying attention. So very good. Yes, it means that having lack of knowledge of something like Tiny Tim could die um, does not mean that you are ignorant. It means that you don't know. So now that you know, you should pay attention. So very good job, Fawn. Porter says for number 4, in a quarter of an hour, my life will be well spent. This means that he will leave in a quarter of an hour because he's already taught Scrooge a lesson. What are the effects of present repeating? There are no prisons, there are no workhouses. He's trying to get Scrooge to regret how he treated the people from the poor. Yes, so he's taken him back to where he currently was with the portly man and the thin man that we saw at the beginning to regret how he treated the poor. And why does the Phantom not talk? He only points out his hand. And how does this contribute to the mood? Well, the mood is creepy. You can't see the Ghost Christmas Future's face, so it somewhat feels like he isn't there, but he just uses this. And I think Anthony said this, Anthony Cardello, he said that he uses creepiness and not talking to make Scrooge really reflect and see for himself. So, very nice job, you two. And what is a parlor? That's where they're selling things that they stole from Scrooge when he died. Act two, speaking of Anthony, here's Anthony. Um, we are talking about scene four. Why does the future want Scrooge to witness the events leading to the funeral? He wants him to see that nobody will care if he dies. So, very good job, Anthony. Future is silent, and here's what I was just talking about. This way that Scrooge can think for himself, what to influence the future, how he can change it. How do we know Tiny Tim has died? Two examples. Anthony Cardello is amazing and provides textual evidence. So, on page 759, Miss Cratchit says in the past tense that he was very late and the father was him, so he had no trouble, no trouble. And on page 79, she also says, you made arrangements for today, then, Robert, and for the service to be on Sunday, talking about Tim's funeral. Awesome job, Anthony. Not too many people provided evidence, so very good job there. And 11. How does Bob describe Tiny Tim? Why is it important in the story? Bob describes Tiny Tim as patient and mild. It's important because Bob doesn't want the family to forget about Tiny Tim. This is Act 2, Scene 4 from Izzy. For number 12, what action of the future gives Scrooge hope that he may change? The spirit will strive within him. And 13, why does Scrooge mean that he will say, I will honor Christmas in my heart and keep it all year long? Scrooge means that he will keep the joy in his heart and that he will change for good. Bella says for number 13 that it will be nice all year and not mean to his nephew year round. And Layla says when Scrooge awakens, he feels different at the beginning of the play. And A explains all the different emotions and Scrooge feeling throughout the play. He's being very rude, sad, and grumpy at the beginning, and in the midst, he is full of care and started to feel regret. And in the end, he started to feel great for the people in his life. Very good, Layla. Yes, that's how he changes throughout the play. So then think about how he changes in his characterization chart, and we can know what type of character he is. So Scrooge describes himself by using simile, and he says, I'm as happy as an angel. He means that he's very happy and grateful for being alive and for all the stuff still in his house. And then Marley has an act of kindness. An act of kindness is like the first green grape of summer. One leads to another and another and another. What does this mean? It means you do have an act of kindness and it keeps spreading. And there are so many acts of kindness in the end. So, yes, it's like one thing that keeps happening over and over again. 17 from Ray. Good job, Ray. What type of figurative language is this? It's a hyperbole. He's kind of being a little sarcastic because he's saying that he will most likely die if he fears Scrooge, so he earned my prize if I live, so he's very sarcastic there. And 18. Why does Scrooge stop at his neighbor's door a few times, bumping into it full force? He doesn't know what he wants because he's nervous, so he forces himself to do that. Yes, he's very hesitant. And last but not least, we have Lucas. And how does Scrooge trick Bob at the end of the scene? And he acts like he's going to fire him, but instead he gives him a raise. Um, the story is dramatic irony. This shows dramatic irony because Scrooge is mean and tight-fisted, and in the end, he gives his money away. Yes, and we as a character see that he's changing, but he actually does not know that he is changing. And what does Scrooge actually give Bob? He actually gives Bob a raise. So very good job there. Now, let's check out Scrooge's characterization charts. These are from Lucas and from Anthony, and just from a glance, you can see how much they have written and how they're supporting their ideas with evidence. So it's kind of interesting because Lucas supports his evidence with the influence, the bottom row, and Anthony has his on his top row. So very nice job to both of you. So in the beginning of this play, we know that Scrooge acts mad. He's aggravated at the whole time. What influences him is that he hates Christmas. He says, what are you doing, Cratchit? Acting cold. The ghost of Christmas past. When Scrooge witnessed his past, he feels lonely because how Christmas was. Scrooge acted this way because he doesn't have any friends. We see in the past, look, you, sir, a schoolhead, a schoolroom, not quite deserted, a solitary child neglected. So this supports and influences why he